So yeah, there's the special snowflake. We've created her. If you want to do fan art of her, you can tweet it.
Snowflake and Safe Space are the twins, and their names are very similar to screen time. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet that they don't see as derogatory.
Yo, how do I sue Marvel? How do I sue Disney? And what lawyer would possibly take on that case? What is up, mental patients? My name is Tormental, and a while back in 2017, I made a satirical, stupid-ass video, part of my series where I was using those annoying Flash doll makers that you find on websites every once in a while when you're looking for real games. I decided to just make some, silly, stupid videos playing with dolls. And one of the videos I made was using an X-Men doll maker. And I created a team called the X-Communicators, which was the special snowflake. And let's see if I can find the other one here. We've got, I think this was Trigger Warning. And finally we had Echo Chamber, who, as you can see, is standing in her echo chamber. And I gave little, stupid remarks about them and everything. Just making basically a shitposty kind of video, as is standard with my channel. However, somebody at Marvel, I guess, watched that. Not really. I'm just being funny. Somebody at Marvel watched that and made the new Warriors, which for anybody who doesn't know, New Warriors is a comic book that I think premiered in the late 80s, early 90s, maybe. I read it as a kid. I was a big fan of it as a kid. It was basically like, we're the new warriors. We're the new hip young heroes that skateboard and eat pizza, and we're radical and tubular. And it was, basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but superheroes. It's also worth noting how diverse the team was way back then. Led by Night Thrasher, an African-American character back in a time when that wasn't normal, for mainstream comics. It was fucking awesome. And that was cool, because it was like, here's superheroes for you, kids. And now it seems like Marvel just says, greetings, fellow kids. Here's a comic that we think is what you'd like. So what we've got here is Screen Time, a character who is addicted to the internet and memes. I bet he mentions Pepe in every fucking issue. We've got Snowflake, who is basically the character I created in my video, short haircut and all. And we've got Safe Space. These are twins who are non-binary twins who are also, I think, dating, because if you look at some of the artwork of them, they're like a little too... They're drawn like a romantic couple, and I don't understand what it is. But then we've got B Negative, the goth vampire. B Negative, folks. Like, he's goth, so he's negative, so you've got to be B Negative, like the blood type. And then we have the plus-size Native American character, Trailblazer, which is... that harkens way back to like the 70s when they were naming Native American characters Warpath or Warpaint or Screaming Eagle and things like that. It's like, can't you have a Native American character who isn't named specific to their skin color? Comic creators, you're so woke that you've come back around. It's like a horseshoe effect. You've come back around to being completely asleep. So yeah, these are the new Warriors, and they're awful. They're just awful concepts from start to finish. Not because of anything related to the politics, but related to their design, related to their conception, related to their abilities. You've got somebody who can mentally use the internet. You've got someone who throws sharp snowflakes. You've got a guy who creates force fields. You have a vampire, and you have a girl with a backpack that can store any item. Does that sound like a really cohesive team with powers that complement each other? No, it absolutely does not. You look at the fucking Avengers. You've got Tony Stark in his, mechanized suit. You've got like this machine, genius. You've got Thor with his unexplained magic god powers. And you've got Captain America, who's just like, I'm a really strong guy who never gives up, and I'm tenacious, and I love Honor and Justice. You've got characters that sort of play off of each other with all different types of powers, but powers that complement each other in like a battle or something like that. With something like this, what are you going to do? You're going to fight a bad guy, and one of them is going to be Googling how to defeat the bad guy. One of them is going to be, I guess, jumping on the bad guy and trying to suck his blood. Another one is going to be looking through her backpack for, I guess, a hammer to hit the bad guy over the head with. And then you've got a person. They make force fields, and then you've got someone who throws ninja stars, basically. You've got Genji in superhero form. Because, throwing ice that is sharp is basically just throwing ninja stars, so... Okay. So those are the powers, and I don't feel like they really go together as a cohesive team. I cannot see any of these characters living outside of this comic. Can you see an X-Men comic where the X-Men welcome screen time to their ranks? Like Wolverine, Jean Grey, Professor X, they're like, screen time, welcome to the X-Men. I don't fucking think so. Can you see an issue of Spider-Man where Spider-Man teams up with Trailblazer? Spidey, we've got to stop the criminals, and Spider-Man's, swinging from webs, and she's, looking through her backpack for, like, a grappling hook or something. Can you see that working? Can you see any of these characters surviving the New Warriors comic and being used later? Because if you look at other comic books, and I'm nerding out on this, but if you look at other comic books, there are characters that cross over. This is the perfect example. There was a comic book called Generation X. Generation X was yet another comic book where they were like, these are the new heroes for a new generation. These are the young hip heroes. And they had characters in that comic that later went on to be in X-Men, to be in like other comics. These characters I cannot see. I cannot see Snowflake and Safe Space joining the Fantastic Four, along with, two other characters in like some revision down the line or some storyline where they reboot the team for a short period or whatever. I cannot see any of these characters being used later. So, what I'm going to do is use that same goddamn doll maker from the previous video, and I'm going to make some characters that I think are better just farted out, on a Flash game. And the key to this whole thing is I am going to embrace the woke terminology, the SJW terminology. I don't know what the term is anymore that people want to use. I'm going to embrace it because we've got Snowflake and Safe Space, but then we've got three other characters who don't fit into that like buzzword terminology. B negative, Screen Time, and Trailblazer, those are not buzzwords in internet culture. So I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to make a team of 5 heroes that are completely going 100% full SJW, and I'm still going to make it more enjoyable and more believable than these characters. That's a lot to claim. Let's see how it works out. Let me know in the comments below if you think I succeeded or failed. Alright, now something to note about this doll maker is that, everybody's going to be in the same pose. It's a prefab kind of thing, so I'm basically just assembling parts together to make what I think is an interesting looking character. The first one we have here is NPC. Now, NPC, as a derogatory term on the internet, is used for someone who just recites back political talking points that they've heard elsewhere. Like, that typical thing of Orange Man bad. And if you wanted to go on the other side of it, you could say Obama war criminal. Different things like that where NPCs are basically just the people who repeat talking points and things like that. So, using that term and its relation to modern internet culture and politics, I have created a character named NPC. Now, NPC is a robot, a droid, an android, who is sort of like a step up from Alexa and Siri and stuff like that, Cortana. And again, we're tying it back into popular culture right now. We're tying it back into relevant things for our decade right now. So that's part of this is trying to make it, really based in what's going on at this moment, and that makes it a little cringy. But I'm going to embrace the cringe. So she is basically Alexa, Siri, Cortana, in robot form, in that she can control mechanical devices. She can control computerized devices. So like, if you had like a steam engine, she wouldn't be able to do jack shit. But if you had like a modern like bomber plane with its high tech computer systems and shit like that, she would be able to control it. She basically can control anything with a computer signal, like a Wi-Fi signal or anything she can get into. Now, the thing about this character that would make her sort of endearing as a character on her own, like as a person, is she basically speaks in very simple terminology. Again, fitting that NPC kind of thing of Orange Man bad, whatever. She speaks in very basic terminology, and she has to be asked to do everything. So, like, if they're in the middle of a fight, someone has to say, NPC, control that that bomber and have it blow up the bad guy, or whatever better terms would be used if you were actually sitting down and writing something well thought out. And she would just be like, the bad guy is exploding now. Just some simple statement as she controls that. So the basic premise of this character is she doesn't do anything unless you ask her to, which I think is kind of funny. You got to give superheroes a weakness. Like, I forget who it was I was talking to. I think it was Paul Dini that I was talking to back in the day, where I asked him for advice when writing superhero comics, and he said you have to give superheroes a weakness or a fault. And that's very true. Like he said, The Flash, Barry Allen, was always late to everything. Even though he was the Flash, he was always late. He always slept in. He always did stuff like that in his personal life. So for this character, her fault is she will do absolutely jack shit unless she's asked to. You got to tell her what to do in battle. And you may be wondering why she dressed so scantily clad if this is a progressive, woke comic book. Well, basically, I liked the idea of NPC standing for no pants character. Next up, we have Queen. Now, you're thinking to yourself, Tormental, are you really fucking going there? Yes, because this is a strong, proud female character. She's an Instagram an Instagram user, taking pictures of herself in mid-battle, because you have to embrace the cringe. If you're going to make it popular right now, you have to embrace the cringe. Back in the 90s, when the New Warriors were about skateboarding and eating pizza, that was fucking cringe. But people loved it. Kids loved it, is what I'm saying. So you have to think about your audience, and you have to actually embrace a little bit of cringe. So this is Queen. She's an Instagram model, quote unquote. She basically has the ability to control light. It sort of is like a mixture between being able to blind people or make a room dark, different things like that, and a very low-level kind of Green Lantern power, where she can manipulate light into creating holographic items, objects, things like that. So she wouldn't be able to, do like Green Lantern and create a fucking machine gun and fire light bullets and mow people down, but she would be able to do stuff like create a blade out of light. She would be able to create a key out of light and open a door. She'd be able to create objects out of light and also manipulate it in general. Now, as you might expect with the name Queen, her fault would be a little bit of an ego. Like, I'm fucking badass. I can handle any problem myself. I don't need anybody's help, that type of thing. Your standard, almost like a Wolverine-ish kind of thing, where Wolverine was like, I don't need a fucking team. I can handle this solo. I don't need help from anybody. I don't need friends. That was like part of his character in various incarnations. She would be that type of person where she's like, I guess you guys can hang out with me if you want, but I don't really need this team to, do what I need to do. And character development, maybe along the line, she would come to, think differently. I don't know. Next character we have on our list is Cancel. Cancel culture, my friends. But this is Cancel. Now, Cancel, speaking of Wolverine, is more of our hunter-killer type character. She's more of like the one that viscerally gets into the fight, knuckle to knuckle, knuckle to face, boot to neck, whatever. Um, she has the ability to destroy matter. Now, this could be just inert matter, or this could be a human being. She has the ability to just straight up destroy matter by touching it. She can cancel things out of existence. So, Cancel, she's one of those characters who has, when we go into like the faults and everything like that, she's one of those characters who has that sort of brooding, kind of dark mentality. Because, let's face it, if you basically erased people from existence by touching them, and it's not like a automatic thing like Rogue from the X-Men where she can't control her power. Cancel can control her power. It's just the fact that she can and has erased people from existence. She if there's like some big object falling toward her, she could sort of, if she can touch it in time, she can erase it from existence. So it just dissipates into nothingness. She's basically like a Thanos snap as a character, essentially. But yeah, she has that brooding kind of thing because she has that weight of her powers on her shoulders, and she kind of is like that person where it's like, don't ask me to do this unless you really want this to go a certain way, because if I get involved in this, people are going to disappear. So that's Cancel, and I really like her as a character. I think that the idea of a character who can essentially erase people or matter from existence is kind of an interesting thing. Like I said, it's like the Thanos snap, but on a small level, and you get to kind of explore that as an ability. Anyway, moving on. Next, we have Intersect, so named due to intersectional feminism, or I don't know, whatever you want to say. But Intersect, I sort of went in a kind of funny direction with it. I decided that Intersect has the ability of various insects. So she's got like the dragonfly wings. She would be able to have like stingers, like a bee, from maybe her hands or something. I don't know, because that's like the typical Spider-Man thing, is the wrists or whatever. She would be able to blend into surroundings, sort of like a camouflaged insect might. Different things like that, where she's basically a pool of bug characteristics. Basically anything you can think of that's special that a bug does, she could do it. And yeah, she would be, as a character, she's actually an entomologist, if I'm pronouncing that right. She's actually a scientist who studies insects. Now, a lot of these characters that are in the comics now, the get woke, go broke kind of comics, they love science, but only in so much as they will say, dude, I fucking love science, and that'll be it. And you're like, well, why? Okay, I guess you could just say that and people believe it. But this character actually would be an entomologist, someone who studies insects, and the character would be written with knowledge of insects. The character would be written with actual actual scientific research behind what she's saying and doing. And as a character flaw, typical thing, scientist, tragically uncool, doesn't know any of the modern hip buzzwords and phrases, just is like, sitting in a lab studying bugs until it's time to, come out of her cocoon, figuratively speaking, and, fight bad guys. In fact, maybe she has the ability to go into a cocoon to regenerate her, life force. If like she's in a fight and she gets the shit beat out of her, maybe she could go into a cocoon. She could use Harden, like fucking Metapod. Alright, now finally in this group we have our leader. We have the leader of my New Warriors team. We have Dr. Powers. Now, that name, in and of itself, probably made you chuckle, shake your head, think, what the fuck? This character, I want it to feel like a Golden Age character. I want Dr. Powers to feel like a character that was created in the 60s or 70s or 50s or whenever, and was like, there when Captain America was, found from the ice, and was there when Iron Man created his suit, and was just a scientist who is part of, you know, all these different things. Because it's sort of like a retcon kind of thing where, in order to give the character credibility, you know, sometimes writers will be like, well, she actually was there from the beginning. It's just that you never saw her. So that means she's authentic and she has credibility. So I'm going to be doing that thing. I'm going to be pulling that trick for Dr. Powers. Now, her first name, her first name starts with M. So she's Dr. M. Powers. She empowers people. You get the thing. But her ability, as you can see, she has sort of almost a Golden Age kind of costume. It's almost like a Miss Marvel, Invisible Woman, you know, kind of classic superhero costume under a lab coat with the glasses and everything. So it's sort of like a mix of, you know, professional scientist with also a Golden Age hero, you know, Golden Age superhero. But her ability would be a constantly and randomly rotating pool of superpowers. Because her name is Dr. Powers, she has multiple superpowers, and they randomly rotate. So during one battle, she might have the ability to throw fire. You know, another day, another month, another year, whatever, she might have stretch powers. She, you know, basically, you could do any number of things. You could say it was a scientific accident. You could say that she was a test subject. You could say, you know, whatever kind of thing. But she basically is constantly in flux of different superpowers. You know, sometimes she's invisible. Sometimes she has, you know, razor-sharp claws. You know, different things like that. And I think that would be a really fun, chaotic element to throw into a comic book is, you know, the leader of the group who sort of is directing the team. You know, sometimes she can join the battle, and sometimes, you know, she might not be as useful in the battle, and she just kind of directs things from afar. So yeah, that would be Dr. Empower, Dr. M. Powers. And as for a character flaw, I haven't really thought that much about character flaws for this one because, as I said, I wanted her to be a Golden Age hero. So I'm thinking maybe her fault might be that she has a bit too idealistic a view of the world. Like, she might be saying, you know, well, we're going to start this new superhero team and everybody's going to get along great and we're going to become, you know, the new warriors and we're going to be, you know, a boon to mankind and we're going to save the world. And then all the characters on her team are fighting each other and infighting and not liking each other. And she's like, well, maybe if we have a group therapy session, that'll solve everything. It's like, no, it just, you gotta just let them fight. But maybe that would be her thing, is she's a bit too much of an idealist. I don't know. NPC, Queen, Cancel, Dr. Powers, and Intersect. That's our 5-character team for a New Warriors lineup. All female, embracing buzzwords. How much more woke can you get? I am the true leader of the... No, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really want to know... let me know in the comments, let me know whatever. Can you see these characters appearing in other comic books? Because remember, that was one of my key problems with the actual New Warriors team that has come out, is that you will not see Safe Space in another team. You will not see... I mean, unless it's corporately forced. You're not going to see Safe Space joining the X-Men. You're not going to see Trailblazer in the Avengers. Okay? But these characters, my characters, can you see Queen appearing in X-Men? Maybe? Can you see Intersect fighting alongside Spider-Man? Can you see Cancel appearing in like an issue of Punisher? I don't know. Can you? Maybe? Maybe? No? I don't know. But yeah, let me know if I succeeded or failed in creating characters who seem more real than the real characters that they actually put out. I don't know. And just for good measure, here's a team of villains for them to fight. We've got Appropriator, we've got Hot Take, Problematrix, and Karen.
Listen to me whisper. Watch me eat on camera. Hear me screaming nothing. Be my next subscriber. See me prank a stranger. I will eat a pepper. Comment on my failure. Be my moderator. Donate to insult me. Donate to insult me. Insult me. Donate to insult me. Donate to insult me. Donate to insult me. my content, asshole.